Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Ian and I am joined by Mike. We are FDT-TV and we are here today to bring you our Arsenal and West Ham combined 11. We haven't done one of these since the England game where we was told we probably know more about cricket than we do about football. But being a little bit closer to home, we should have a bit more of an idea as to what's going on. So,
but still probably not.
Well, still probably not. You might agree with us, you might not. Let us know in the description. Before we do get started, though, if you haven't already, press that subscribe button and the like button. We always like subscribes and likes. But without further ado, the way we are going to do this is we're both going to nominate a player. That may be from our squad. There may be a few wild cards in from the other team. Who knows? It's a combined 11, and then we're going to discuss the points for those players. And then put our final decision into our team sheet. Yeah, so I think the best way to start it, as always, especially being as Arteta likes playing out from the back, has got to be goalkeeper.
Yep.
So, Mike, out of the several goalkeepers you have in the Arsenal squad, or the West Ham squad, who's your nomination?
Easy peasy, Burnley.
Well, I've gone for Fabian Balbuena. So it was a full. Fabian Balbuena? No, I haven't. I've gone for Lucas.
You said wild card. I didn't realise you were going completely wild card.
Yeah, I'm just putting players anyway. I don't even know why I said that. He's not even in the squad. No, I'm going for Lucas Fabianski.
And I mean this. There's no disrespect. There was a reason that we got rid of Lucas. Granted, would I pick Fabianski over Alex Runner-Brunison? Hands down. Obviously, that was the reason why we brought in Matt Ryan from Brighton. Obviously, he is only on loan. But for me, for the last two seasons, I think on the most part, Bernardo has been absolutely outstanding. I think the fault of some of the goals that have been conceded were due to defensive errors. And I think for a keeper, you do have to have that shot-stopping ability, but I think you're only as good as your defence as well. And I think the defence has let him down on more than one occasion, as we've seen over the last couple of years. But for the times he's had to pick out those exceptional saves that we've seen him leap like a salmon, reflexes of a cat, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And I would fight tooth and nail to get him into the position of goal.
Okay. Well, I've gone for Fabianski just for the fact of we've conceded less goals than you.
Yep.
He's got 9 clean sheets this season, 13 wins. So that's my argument for that. I think this is one of those positions where we're never going to agree. So in our team sheets, I think we've got different goalkeepers for our combined 11s.
Yep.
Both good keepers, without a shadow of a doubt. Bernd Leno didn't have the best of times against Tottenham, but I've heard he's been practicing diving left, so he should be all right for us that game. We're all going with the same formation, so we're going with a 4-2-3-1. Both teams have played it at points, so there has been obviously variations in these formations throughout the seasons, and that depends on the game. But at left back, being as you went first with the goalkeeper, I will plead my case for Aaron Cresswell to be our left back. Who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Kieran Tierney.
Now, here's the thing, right? I'm in an ahhing. If the formation was different, I would have put Tierney at left back. But because there's only 4 at the back, I've had to go for Cresswell just for the sheer amount of assists this season. 10 clean sheets, 7 assists. That's my argument. No shadow of a doubt that actually running the line and being a left back, Cresswell hasn't got the legs for anymore. So
I think that's where I would go for Kieran. He's pacey. I mean, I know he has had a few injuries this season. Obviously, he joined the club injured, so didn't really get going until towards the latter stages of last year anyway. But I just think for potential captain material for certainly our club to pass the torch on to, he's definitely one that's can seem to get the rest of the team G'd up. He's very passionate, has got a bit of pace about him, a wicked cross, and loves a shot himself. I mean, we've seen him score a couple of absolute belters already this season. When at important times when we needed a goal, the boy cropped up and scored an absolute some absolute bangers. Again, I would say this is no disrespect, but for me, I think in terms of being able to change a game, and from looking at our defensive record when he's been out to when he is in, I think definitely he would be my choice.
Yep. And unfortunately, especially for my team sheet, I'm going to concede this one to you. I really am. Not for the fact that Cresswell isn't good. He's doing a job, but Tierney, in terms of being a left back and what that requires these days, has got the legs for it, where Cresswell sadly hasn't anymore. So that leads us on to our left centre back.
This was a very difficult choice for me because there's 3 players that we've got that play that position, all of them with I think different characteristics. So the choices for me would be, from an Arsenal perspective, would be David Luiz, Pablo Mari, or Gabriel Magalhaes. Now, we did see Gabriel and Pablo Mari join last season. Gabriel, I think, will only come in at the start of this season. But Pablo Mari was injured at the start of the season, and I believe David Luiz was also injured at the start of the season. Therefore, we had to throw Gabriel in. He is very new to the Premier League. He has won Player of the Month for Arsenal, which says something about our season so far. At the times that he won them, so I think it was for the first 3 months, he won the Player of the Season. Has kept us in games again with some of his challenges. Has had a bit of a silly streak in him as well, with some silly passes, a red card that he's picked up, illnesses that he's had. So he's not really had a consistent run. It was fairly consistent up until I think he got his COVID, which he was then obviously has a game restrictions. That we then saw Pablo Mari come in again, didn't really put a foot wrong. It's a really tough one for me. But I think for overall consistency, since Mikel Arteta has come in, I think I would have to go with experience and go with David Luiz. And I know that that's going to come as a shock to some people, but definitely David Luiz for me.
I'm inclined to agree with you. For David Luiz being one of the most consistent defenders, he has got a clanger in him, but he is a serial winner. And this is where it becomes a hard task for me, because I was going to put Cresswell at left centre back because of his ability to go forward. He's a bit better suited to being a centre back now than he is a left back. But my nomination is going to be Issa Diop. He is a centre-back by trade. He's not having the best of seasons. He has got 1 goal, only 2 clean sheets in the 9 appearances that he's made this season. But in terms of experience, in terms of ability to go forward and wallop a free kick, which we all like, in terms of having an absolute clanger or putting a big tackle, I think David Luiz wins on all counts. So I'm going to concede that position in my lineup as well. Both got David Luiz. So at the moment, Arsenal pulling strong in the West Ham lineup. Moving on to the right centre-back. You mentioned a lot of different centre-backs there that are playing well. There is only one Craig Dawson.
Yes.
He's got 3 goals. Well, he's got 4 goals, but 1 is an own goal. So he's only got 3 really. 13 appearances, 6 clean sheets. He is like a bull in a china shop at a corner. He's going to run forward and smash his head on it, and that's out. That's how he scores his goals. He has been solid for us, and quite rightly so, he's being looked at for an inclusion in the latest England squad. I think after he plays this game, West Ham have to buy him for £2 million, and for that reason, I'm going with Craig Dawson.
So for my pick, again, we have seen David Luiz being the versatile player that he is, played in that position when we've had our main man, Rob Holding. So in this position, I would say Rob Holding would be my Arsenal nomination. He has been a breath of fresh air, actually, since he made his way back into the team. I know him and Danny Welbeck, when he was playing for us, and Hector Bellerin were all going through their ACL injuries together. He's had to work bloody hard to get to where he is, and it was only that he had his concussion that I think he's been dropped from the team. Otherwise, he'd still be in it. However, that being said, I don't think I could put him in over Dawson from everything that you've just said. So that is a position I am willing to concede in terms of this selection.
And at the beginning of the season, when if we'd done this at the beginning, Craig Dalton wouldn't have been anywhere near the starting lineup for either team. But he's proven, he's certainly proven me wrong, as well as a number of other people. So keep up the good work. Next up, another important position, right back. For Arsenal, we've seen a couple of different players play there this season. One's not at the club anymore; he's out on loan, so that rules out Maitland-Niles. Who is your nomination?
So we do have Hector Bellerin and also Cedric Suarez available in that position. At the start of the season, Hector Bellerin was really impressing me, and I was so glad to see him again back into the team after a long time out due to injury. But just as the season's gone on, I think he seems to think he's more of an attacking player than he is a defender, which has left us open to a counter-attack a couple of times, which I'm not a big fan of seeing a defender doing that. I mean, I'm all for getting forward, but you've got to be able to get back, and he does have his pace about him, which is, I suppose, one of his redeeming features. However, he has given away several foul throws already this season, so that automatically put him out for me. Cedric Suarez and Pepe, we have seen fairly recently link up down the right-hand side, and I think that is a partnership that we will see in weeks to come for us. So for me, I would say that Cedric, whilst he has had a run in the team, he's fairly recent into the right-back position for Arsenal, and I know that is his position anyway. But for me, I would like to see him at right back.
Okay. My nomination is Vladimir Coufal, one of our checkmates, as we like to call them, at West Ham. £5 million he come to us from Slavia Prague in the summer. He's an absolute warrior. He seems to go through hell on earth every game just to make sure he's winning the ball back. 8 clean sheets in 24 appearances, 3 assists. And for me, I can't see him budging. I do like Cedric Suarez. I liked him when he was at Southampton. I do think he's much better than Bellerin. But for me, I just can't see a shift in Coufal.
No. I'm more than happy to accept that one as well. So we've got a mixed back four.
We have got a mixed back four, and that wraps it up for the defence. Now we've done the defence, and we're getting into the big positions. Central midfielders. Some would say most important part of the team, the engine room that keeps it running. And I'm going to put up my first nomination. He's the other part of those checkmates is Thomas Souček. He's like a train, he just doesn't stop. And he scores goals and he does everything else. So, who is your nomination?
To be fair, I think I'm going to have to concede these positions already. So we'll start with Granit Xhaka.
Okay.
Again, he is a player that, for me, has had a bit of an up and down time at Arsenal. He has got a bit of a left peg on him, can fling a few passes around, score some absolute rockets, and can just absolutely larrup the ball. However, as we have seen, he does like to give away fouls, has been sent off a couple of times. I'm only saying this because I think your midfield is possibly marginally better than ours, certainly from this season.
Marginally. Marginally. Have you seen where we are in the table?
Mate,
Marginally.
I've got to defend my boy. No, I'm gonna say it now. So what I'll do is I'll just give my case. So Granit Xhaka, as I've just explained, Thomas Partey, I think would be the only other selection for us. Dani Ceballos is an okay player. I don't think he's hit the heights that he hit last season. Mohamed El Neni, I think, is a good squad player. So if you were going to do the best case scenario for Arsenal midfielders, it would have to be Xhaka and Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey has had significant injuries since joining us. Can't last 90 minutes at the moment. But again, I don't think we have seen the best of him as yet. But for me, your midfielders, I would hands down say would deserve to be over our midfielders.
Okay, so what you're going with is Souček and Declan Rice.
Yes.
Okay, just a few stats for you, just in case you're interested. Souček this season, 28 appearances, 8 goals, 176 recoveries, and 44 interceptions. That is only bettered by Declan Rice, unfortunately. Declan Rice, 1 goal in 28 appearances, 1 assist in 28 appearances, 54 interceptions, which is the highest in the Premier League, and 205 recoveries. Declan Rice is obviously the more defensive one of the two, but Souček has got it all. He is Mr. Potato Salad, and I think it is only fair that those two go into the squad.
Yes.
So that
100%.
That moves us on. We've got our central midfield done. I would like to say though, Thomas Partey, I do think you've hit the nail on the head there. We haven't seen the best of him. He has been injury stricken. I hope that doesn't last, because obviously we like to see quality players in the Premier League. It brings more competition to the league, and it makes it more interesting to watch. I just hope he's injured for the next match. That's all I'm saying. Right, left midfield. There are a number of players who play here, because like at West Ham, Arsenal, they tend to swap around who's in that attacking roles and who's playing left, who's playing right. So I don't know about you, but for me, narrowing down who's playing where to put up a nomination each is quite difficult. So
Yes.
Who have you gone for the left wing?
I have gone for our captain, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It's a position that he has nailed down for the last 3.5 seasons. He obviously recently signed a new contract with us at the start of the season, which put him, I believe, as our highest earner. Mm-hmm. And rightly so, he definitely deserved it. But since he signed his contract, I think he's had the contract syndrome that every Arsenal player seems to have, and they seem to go missing. He hasn't hit the heights of what he hit in the last 2.5 seasons. However, we have started to see him hit his better form. I think up until the game against... Who did we play last? I can't bloody remember. Tottenham, sorry. That was really bad. Up until we played against... He scored 7 goals in 7 games. So I think he is starting to hit his best form again. We did see him left out for the Tottenham game due to disciplinary reasons. I believe it's something to do with punctuality, although the reports haven't been confirmed, but we do believe that is that. However, I think out in that position, it would be hard for any player to topple him throughout the league when he's on form.
I do concur. He has been the top goal scorer for a number of years running. He's been up there for the Golden Boot as well. And I'm going to put him in. My nomination is Saïd Benrahma, who for me is wonderful to watch. He's one of those players who puts you on the edge of your seat with his skill and his trickery. He's got 4 assists this season, which is quite good, but we've not seen him hit the back of the net. He seems to be snatching at his chances. And when the big opportunities come, I would have more confidence that Aubameyang, and he said it right first time,
Go on, boy.
would be the person you want to get on the end of it. So as much as I do enjoy watching Benrahma, and I hope that he becomes a better player over the coming weeks, or enjoys more success. He doesn't need to become a better player, he's already a good player. But enjoys more success over the coming weeks, I am going to concede the left wing position to Aubameyang. Very good. And that leaves us with 2 more positions before we get onto our lone striker. But playing in the central attacking midfield. Quite a hard position to play. Can make or break a team. We've seen one of the best in the world, or previous one in the best in the world, leave Arsenal recently in Ozil. When he was on his day, he couldn't be beaten. I mean, I know Reece Oxford put him in his pocket first match at 17, but wasn't his day, was it? But most people would say, oh, West Ham fan, he's going to go for Pablo Fornals. 24 appearances, 2 goals, 3 assists, hit the woodwork 4 times, 650 odd passes. No, I'm not going for Fornals. I'm going for Emile Smith-Rowe. Young English player who has impressed me this season. I will say there's 2 Arsenal players who've really impressed me this season. Saka is out injured, so it's unfortunate he's not going to be included in the selection. But Emile Smith-Rowe for me, especially playing in that role, has been outstanding this season for you. And I think you would be in a much worse off position had Arteta not put him in when he did. So that's.
No, I think that's definitely a fair shout. I mean, we have that is a position we've struggled with all season up until his inclusion a few months ago now. We lack any creativity. So we went to the academy. He's a player I know that you have admired for a couple of seasons now when he started to break through into the team. Mm-hmm. I certainly remember a conversation we were having last year where you said that he's definitely a future for Arsenal in that position. We do also have the likes of Martin Erdogard, who has recently joined the team. Again, seems to be hitting the right buttons with the manager, which is good. Has also cropped up with a couple of goals in the last couple of games as well. However, if you are talking about who has had the bigger impact, I certainly think I tend to agree with you that Emile Smith-Rowe has definitely made more of an impact, but that could be simply just because he's been at the club longer. But has just been absolutely fantastic. His work rate has come up with a couple of assists as well. Was unlucky not to score against Tottenham, which would have been an absolute worldie had it gone in. But for me, I do agree with you that Emile Smith-Rowe into that position over Martin Erdogard for the time being. Yeah,
I think if Odegaard had been at the club for the whole season, we may not have seen Emile Smith-Rowe play as much, because Odegaard, he has got quality. I do just think the work rate on the pitch is what makes a difference there. Certainly, Emile Smith-Rowe he's tenacious. Is probably the best word for him. Now we move on to the right midfield. So I will let you put your nomination up first, and then I shall tell you why you're wrong.
That I'm wrong. So for me, for the right midfield position, I will hold nothing back and say that had he been fit, Saka would have been in this position hands down, and I think you would be inclined to say the same just by looking over the length of the season.
Yes.
I know exactly who you're going to go with, and to be honest, I would probably tend to agree with you in Jesse Lingard.
Yep.
Would be my pick if I had to choose between Pepe, Willian or Lingard. I would pick Lingard. And I'm going to hold no punches. Since Nicolas Pepe has come into Arsenal, he did come in with a very high price tag. Now, I know it's not his fault that he did have that price tag, but for me, we haven't seen anywhere near the level of consistency that we saw whilst he was in the French leagues. Again, that could just be because it's a different game altogether in terms of the quality of the leagues, but it just isn't consistent enough for me. And I've said this on so many episodes of our podcasts, in our preview shows. Just recently, I think he has been better, but if Saka was fit, it would be a no-brainer for me that Saka would be in over Pepe.
Yep.
And I think because Saka is out, as I said, I have to go with Jesse Lingard in this position.
Yep.
So tell me I'm wrong now, punk.
Well, here's the thing, right? What you haven't accounted for is Andrei Yarmolenko. No, I'm just putting your leg. He's injured as well, but he's been a bit shit this season. He's probably out in the summer. No, Lingard for me, it is hard because Xhaka for me is another young Arsenal player who I admire, not only for his versatility but for his work rate and for his ambition to want to get on the ball and drive at players, and that's what I like to see. But for me, I mean, if Xhaka had been fit, I would have put Lingard in a different position because he has played on the left, he has played central, and he has played on the right for us. Since coming in, he's got 1 assist and 4 goals in 6 appearances. We've only lost 1 game since he's been at the club and drawn 1. The rest are all wins. So, I mean, for me, he did a silly dance, didn't he, with a band thing, and just bants, isn't it? So, for me, yeah, Jesse Lingard. So, I assume we're both agreeing that Jesse Lingard, for his form, long may it continue, especially into the Euros, is in our right midfield. And that leaves us with one position only left, and that is striker.
Yep.
And I think this could be another contentious one, a bit like the goalkeepers. I mean, for me, now this is difficult because he's no longer at the club. But can we put Haller in as a special mention?
You can do whatever you like, mate.
No, fuck him. West Ham fans, if you liked him, then you wasn't really a West Ham fan, was you? He was lazy. We need the work rate of Antonio at the top of this team. He's got goals in him, 7 goals this season, hit the woodwork 4 times, 3 assists, but more importantly, 36 recoveries. It's more than a lot of the midfielders are getting in the Premier League, just because a bit like Emile Smith-Rowe, he is tenacious and he will just chase and chase and chase. So for me, Mikel Antonio.
This is going to be a difficult one for both of us on this one. Lacazette, for me, for Arsenal, hasn't really played as many games in the Premier League as I thought he was going to get this season. Considering he has scored 10 goals already this season in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. I think he is definitely, or just from what I've seen over the course of the season, is that Mikel Arteta, I think, was trying to blood Aubameyang into the lone striker role, because there were points that both strikers had dried up with their goal scoring, and something wasn't working. However, Lacazette, I think, was our top scorer, or is our top scorer in the Premier League as it stands at the moment, or they may now be equal. Mm-hmm. However, for me, Aubameyang is not a play up top on your own kind of player, personally. Yep. I mean, he has got a bit of pace about him, but for me, Lacazette holds the ball up well. Mm-hmm. Be careful what I say there and holding balls up. No, he holds the ball up well, has got a pass on him, has got a shot on him, and I don't think he's as selfish as other strikers that I have certainly seen at Arsenal. It reminds me of an Olivier Giroud type player, but I think is more clinical and has got a bit more pace on him than Olivier Giroud did have.
Yep.
But again, equally, both really good strikers. So for me, because he is our top scorer, I would have to throw him in. Mm-hmm. However, he hasn't been playing as consistently as Antonio has been playing, and therefore I would say would be willing to concede that position to Mikel Antonio.
Very good. I'm quite pleased with that, actually. So there's only one position we couldn't really come to any conclusion on, that is a goalkeeper. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not an admirer of Lacazette. When he was at Lyon and we was linked with him as well as you, I was really hoping we would sign him because he is a quality player. And I do think the only thing that will improve his form is consistently playing. which doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. I mean, Nketiah, in terms of England under 21s, phenomenal. But when he comes to the Arsenal squad, he seems to be a different player, unfortunately. So hopefully he's another one who can turn around and become good. And a lot of people might say it's a bit weird hearing a fan of one club wishing that players would play well for other clubs. But I'm more thinking, for one, not only spectacle of entertainment, but two, for England. All of these players that I mentioned are young England players, represented England, some at senior squad levels, most of them at youth levels. But we want to see the best, don't we, going into these summer tournaments? We've got one coming up where we all become one big fan club until the quarterfinals, and then.
Unless it's Harry Kane.
This is Harry Kane. But that is our combined 11. We'll put it up nice and big on the screen for you now. Let us know what you think, if we got any positions wrong, or if you'd change anyone. But until then, I've been Ian.
I've been Mike.
We will see you for our match previews very, very soon. Goodbye.
Thanks very much.